Hey there, fellow classic comic collectors. As always, I'm Scott Harris King, and today, as promised, we're back for the third part of our epic three-part look at this giant haul of comics that I got at a local convention that was just like 12 minutes from my house. Now, in the first video, I showed you a big assortment of stuff, including some romance comics, and just a bunch of odds and ends and cool things. Last time around, I showed you a whole bunch of horror comics that I got. Bronze Age horror mostly Charlton, lots of cool stuff. But today we're even more focused because it's all about the 1970s Atlas books. And I got a giant pile of them. Now, before I jump into this real quick, just want to mention again my Kickstarter for Geek Love, #1, my romance comic, currently live. So check that out. Links below. Not much time left on that one, so check that out when you have a chance. But back to Atlas. So I've been picking up Atlas here and there. I have quite a few of them, or I thought I did. But this dealer had long boxes of Atlas books, $3 each, and most of them seem to be new old stock, meaning that they were books that were never sold, like they were overstock from a vendor of some kind, right? And that's not to say that they're all in great shape, because they've been bouncing around unbagged in boxes for the last 50 years. And so a lot of them are dinged up corners, stuff like that. But usually I've been trying to pick them up for $1 each. It turns out there is a big difference between $1 each and $3 each when you're buying over more than 20 them at a time, which is what happened here. But still, tons of cool stuff. And so we're going to go through that, and then after this video I'm going to make my Atlas checklist, because I'm getting pretty close with this haul to having a set of all of them. I will say the one title, there might be other titles that I didn't get or they didn't have and I just didn't clock it, but the one thing they did not have any of is Vicky. In fact, even though they had boxes of Atlas comics, when I asked about Vicky, the guy said he wasn't 100% sure if, like, it took him a minute to even figure out what I was talking about. He basically never had them. Never saw them. Did not have any. So the hunt goes on. But I did get this big pile here. Now, a couple of these I'm pretty sure I have already. But I'm really curious to go through these, because one thing that, for those of you who, whether you collect Atlas or not, you may or may not know this, but it's evident when you just look at them that they struggled to have cohesion and sales, because they put out all this huge line of comics and flooding the market, and then by issue 2, the core concept of almost all of their books had changed, and so you see from issue to issue the whole, like, same character, but all of a sudden they're in a superhero costume where they didn't have one before. The titles changed. You don't know why the titles changed. And we'll see that over and over here, and it's really weird. So let's start with Iron Jaw. Another interest for me with Iron Jaw is that the character Iron Jaw, of course, the original Iron Jaw was in the Golden Age, and he was the villain in Boy Comics, the Crime Buster series, which, as you know, I self-publish comics. And the Crime Busters, starring Crime Buster, is my sort of flagship title that I've been doing for the last 5.5 years. And so this is a case where Iron Jaw had fallen in the public domain. They used the basic concept for the character, which is he's a big guy that kills people and he has an iron jaw. But they turned him into a Conan ripoff. So it's an interesting use of a public domain character, repurposing mostly the name, but also, I mean, he does have the same look with the iron jaw. So it's not a concept I think you just come up with. Like, what if we made Conan, but he had an iron jaw and he was called Iron Jaw? No, I think they were definitely fans of the Golden Age thing. So here's Iron Jaw #1. Now, this series is confusing as heck. So Iron Jaw #1, cover dated January 1975. Here's Barbaric Adventures, starring Iron Jaw. This is issue 2, cover dated March 1975. If you look at the indicia inside, this is actually Iron Jaw #2. The barbaric adventures they added is not part of the official title of the book, which is good because it goes away immediately. Issue 3, I should say, like, issue 2 was kind of beat up, but issue 3 is in really nice condition. You can see the gloss on it. Here's issue 3 of Iron Jaw, cover dated May 1975. So what comes next? Well, I'd swear that there's an issue 4 of Iron Jaw. In fact, I think I have it. But that was May of 75. We jump forward 1 month to June of 75, and we have Barbarians featuring Iron Jaw. And this is not, unlike the other instance, this is not a case where it's still called Iron Jaw in the indicia. This is actually called Barbarians #1. So you can see they're like all over the place. It is a little weird that at the time where they're canceling all the other titles, they're launching a new one here. Here's now we're jumping to some other titles. Morlock 2001 #2. Now I already have issue 1 somewhere, so I didn't get it. I didn't get issue 1. I just got issue 2. This one I think I already have, but if I do, it's fine. I'll just pass it along because it's Blazing Battle Tales featuring Sergeant Hawk #1, which has this tremendous Frank Thorne cover where he's doing his best like DC war scenario. All those Kubrick covers that have like, we can see that the Nazis are about to spring a trap, but our heroes don't know it because of from the angle they're at. That's like a staple of DC war books. This is a great version by Frank Thorne, doing what Frank Thorne does best, which is big busty women. So I think I have that already, but again, it's fine if I don't because it's so cool. Rather, it's fine if I do. I don't mind having 2 of that. This one, though, I know I don't have because I just not that long ago got the first issue of this. It's their other war book. So that one was called Blazing Battle Tales featuring Sergeant Hawk. So the title is Blazing Battle Tales. Sergeant Hawk's just the character in it. This one is called Savage Combat Tales featuring Sergeant Striker's Death Squad #2. So this is not an atlas that I personally have seen very much of, this entire series, the Savage Combat Tales, but I did get an issue 1 a few months ago. So I was really excited to see issue 2 of this. All right, here's Target #1. Trying to figure out who did the cover because it looks almost like Chaykin to me. But anyway, here's Target #1. You can see Target's some kind of like adventure spy guy, right? He's wearing slacks. He's got a turtleneck. He's got one of them 70s gun holsters that they have in all the cop shows there. Which is odd because he's holding a pistol in this hand, but there's also still a pistol in the holder, so I don't know where he pulled that out of. But anyway, it's an adventure guy, right? Yeah, except for in issue 2, the title's changed to John Target Manstalker, and now he's got this goofy costume. Which actually looks a lot like the costume for the character, the superhero Target, who appeared in the Golden Age series Target comics. So, don't know if that's another like public domain coincidence. I don't know, it's hard to say. I think it's more likely that this one actually is a coincidence because they're both riffing off of the name Target. But it's so jarring to go from this guy to this guy in the space of 1 issue. Okay, so here's just a straight up superhero right from the get-go. One of the only ones they really did is Tiger Man, #2. Think I have issue 1 of Tiger Man already. Not 100% sure. But they didn't have it there anyway. But got that. And here's another superhero book. It's The Cougar, a Hollywood stuntman turned Night Stalker. So it's a stuntman who, here he is fighting a vampire. It's an acrobat that fights vampires. Sure. So there's Cougar #1. Here's another genre change for you. Scorpion number 2, and here he's, more of a Dominic Fortune sort of guy. He's got his little weird bolero jacket and whatever. But in the next issue 3, he's sporting this Spider-Man-esque Scorpion costume. Here's Scorpion number 3. Again, I have Scorpion number 1. They had a bunch of copies of all the Scorpion issues. I already had issue 1, so I just got 2 and 3. And here's a really jarring one. Now, they didn't have all of these, so I'm still missing some of them. But it's Phoenix, the Man of Tomorrow. Here's issue 1 of Phoenix. What you can see is the Man of Tomorrow. It's clearly a sci-fi sort of post-apocalyptic, I don't know, Killraven meets Magnus Robot Fighter sort of vibe going on there. Keep that in mind, because by the time we get to issue 4, it's somehow turned into this. Phoenix, the Protector. It's this ridiculous-looking guy in a superhero costume fighting a Cyclops that looks like he walked right out of an Atlas monster book from 1958. Really nice condition. I've never seen this one. This is a late one. This is October of 1975. It does have some like sun. It's got a sun shadow, but really nice condition. Here's some issues of Wolf. A couple interesting things here. Wolf the Barbarian number 2. Now I have issue 1 already. I've showed it before because my issue 1 is signed by Larry Hama, who wrote issue 1. He might have drawn it as well. I'm not sure. Here's issue 2, though. This one's a little more beat up, but this is their other fantasy series, Wolf number 3. And here's Wolf number 4. So I have that whole run now. Planet of the Vampires. I think I have issue 1 of this, but I'm not 100% sure. But I'm quite sure, pretty sure at least I don't have either of these. So I got issue 2 of Planet of the Vampires. There was some talk a while ago about this being turned into a movie. That never happened, but I will say they made the odd decision to move from that logo to this one. I think the first one's a lot better and more modern. This cover is drawn by Russ Heath. So, Russ Heath, of course, is famous for doing war comics, particularly DC war books in the 50s and 60s and 70s. You don't think of Russ Heath as doing Planet of the Vampires, but there it is. Here is another one of their anthology books where, I don't know why they didn't just call this the Tarantula, but instead they called it Weird Suspense featuring the Tarantula. I don't know why they did that. Though I die, Count Lycosa, you will bear my curse, the curse of the Tarantula. It's a guy turning into some kind of spider guy, I guess, although it doesn't really look much like a spider. And then 2 more of these anthology books. Now, these I've never seen before. I do have a couple, at least one other issue of Tales of Evil, but it's not this one. I hadn't seen this one before. Now, these were a little more expensive. These were $5, but they're in really nice condition, which is partially why they're more expensive. Tales of Evil featuring the Bog Beast number 2. And then, I've never seen this one before except online. It's Fright, featuring the Son of Dracula. So I was particularly happy to see this one, because it's just not one that I've ever seen before. It's got a really cool cover. I'm trying to see a signature. Don't know. But it's got a really cool cover. It was $5. Like I said, I'm getting pretty close to having a set of all of these now. There's a couple titles I didn't get here, like Grim Ghost. I think I have those already. So I just stuck with those. But so much cool stuff. And price was right, and just some really, really cool books with a lot of like comic book history in them. A lot of great creators, really interesting story behind the company. So once I finish my complete set of Atlas, I'll be doing a video about that, where you'll see all these a second time, but with a little more context. But I need to make my checklist and see if I can track the rest of them down. The Vicky ones in particular are incredibly hard to find. I do have issue 1 of Vicky already, so you know, a quarter of the way there. But that's it for this time. Again, check out the Kickstarter link down below. Let me know what you think of these, and I'll see you next time.